would be worth a 2 club opening had they not opened in front of you and you'd been able to do it. I mean, it's a 3 loser hand, right? I mean, it's a tremendous hand.
But didn't we make 7?
Right.
Yeah, I can see, yeah, you probably, yeah.
And you know, would you want the weak hand to be the one that is playing the diamonds? That's.
I mean, it's,
This is just a lazy.
on this kind of hand, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I mean, there's nothing the defense can do to stop this from either side. And sometimes, he said sometimes there's some value in putting, we know that all the missing high cards are in one hand, right? Because we know which opponent opened. So any missing cards that you do care about, which you don't even care on this hand because dummy has a club void and most of opener's hand is in the club suit with the ace, king, queen of clubs. Right? So, you know, here it's probably not going to change everything. They're probably going to make their natural club lead and then this thing's going to be over in a hurry. You know, and you can rough spades in your hand, but not, you know. But, you know, I mean, remember when, you know, partner could be extremely weak and, you know, even if if partner has something like 3 small spades, you may have no way to get around 2 spade losers on a hand like this. So, you know, the slam is not necessarily a given. So.
And then the other question is, would you put on your agenda to talk to us sometime about how to count losing tricks? The losing trick count, whatever, LTC, losing trick count. Yeah, because we've heard a few things.
So, I'm trying to think, a couple of, I'm trying to remember when I last did it. I haven't done it for a while. Couple of options there. One is I could try and do, it's been a while since I've done that workshop. So I could try and do a workshop here outside of class on losing trick count. Another possibility is we insert it into a winter program as part of that syllabus. So it's, I feel if I do losing trick count, I want to give it its due because it's in my opinion, one of the most abused treatments in bridge, and it's not that I don't think it is valuable. And like I said, I've got a class on it, but the thing is, it is improperly applied all the time. And most people that play it have never read Ron Klinger's book, which is it's not the first book on losing trick count, but it's the best book on it. It's the best explanations, the most comprehensive. And you know, I went at one point. I used to teach losing trick count, and at one point I went at least 3 or 4 years without teaching it, and that was my form of protest about what everybody was doing with it. I'm like, if people are going to use it, I'm not going to teach it, but I will still teach it, and I will still use it on occasion.
I think the Bridge Bulletin has had a series on that.
Yeah, they're running a series. They're running a series again. They actually did, the same author did a series a few years ago, and I don't know that these articles are identical. She may have written new articles for it, but yeah, she's revisiting it. So.
And do you approve of her treatment?
Yeah, I mean she's talking about all the fundamentals, and like I said, I mean there's a lot to talk about. So yeah, when I saw that series when it came around the first time, I kind of raised my eyebrows and I was like, oh, where's this going to go? And then I have looked at a lot of the articles. I would probably, the only thing I would do with this, you really have to be forceful about how important it is to have a good suit fit to use it. Because I see all sorts of weird things. I see people doing things like playing losing trick count responses after a week 2 bid, which is just complete garbage. I would never recommend something like that. I mean, I've seen it. I remember playing a hand at the club against someone. I had a 2 spade opening on my right, and my left-hand opponent had a small singleton spade. So this was known to only be a 7-card fit. She had a good hand. She ended up not a huge hand, a good hand. And so, she's applying losing trick count or something like that and putting this thing in 4 spades, and it failed miserably. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's you don't use it here because you don't have a good spade fit. You have a nice hand, but this is the wrong place to use it. So that's the kind of thing you see. You see a lot of abuse and being applied in different places. And then, I've also noticed that people that when it comes to losing trick count, people have selective memory. And they notice and remember all the situations where it works, and they conveniently forget about all the disasters. It's the most incredible thing. Well, I mean, we can bias our statistics any way we want, right? Yeah, remember the one time it worked, but then the other 3 times you did it during that session, all the contracts went set. So, but having said all that, yes, I have no shortage of content on losing trick count.
So I have a question. I wasn't part of that hand, but you said there were 4 hearts in that. The opponent's hand. Now, I've always heard that if you had, so he doubles and I have 4 hearts, aren't I biased to the major? Why wouldn't I go 1 heart?
Is this right for responder's hand? Something like that? King double to the spades, queen 4 of hearts, 5 hearts to the jack, and a couple little clubs, So that's just it. That's why I said there's no guarantee about how this auction is going to go, because I think I often would bypass my 5 diamonds to the jack and bid my 4-card heart suit, which on this particular hand probably makes things a little more challenging for the strong hand, because you don't necessarily want to, as good as your hearts are, you only have 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to insist on hearts. You don't want to go jumping around in hearts when partner hasn't promised 5 of them. And so the answer is, what comes next? Well, you could Q bid, you could bid your diamonds. If you double and then bid your own diamond suit, you're showing a big hand with diamonds. But even doubling here, and then if partner bids 1 heart, 2 diamonds probably isn't enough, because partner would actually be allowed to pass that. So you might be talking about doubling and then jumping in your diamonds, or
Okay.
Because clearly on this hand, if we're going to play slam, we want to play in diamonds, right?
Right.
We wouldn't want to play slam in our 4-3 fit, and part of the reason this hand works so well with the huge diamond fit is that you can trump a couple of spade losers over here. So.
But when the big doubler corrects to diamonds, showing that huge a hand, then isn't responder required to just,
doubling and bidding is you're really encouraging partner to bid, but it's actually not 100% forcing. It's close. And certainly if partner doubles and bids diamonds, when I have 5-card support, I'm bidding again. So here, if you double and it goes a heart, and then this person were to bid only 2 diamonds, which I think undervalues the hand, I would still raise to 3 diamonds with this hand, because I've got good support, even though it's only 6 points. So you would probably escape that.
Then would you start bidding?
Yeah, you could. Again, that partner's pretty weak, so when you're holding the strong hand, I don't know.
What do you gain?
Here you actually have something you could Q bid.
Yeah.
But even if that king of spades was only queen doubleton of spades, and you could finesse that opening bidder for the king of spades, because we know where the king of spades would be in that situation. How are you going to show that? We may be Q bidding aces and kings, but once we get into second and third and fourth round controls of suits, we can't really get quite that scientific with it. So it's a cute hand though. And one other thing, and I'm going to talk about this, but sometimes, especially not only when you have these big distributional hands, but especially when we get a void into the mix, where and when you have a void, we're getting into that territory where we don't necessarily want to use Blackwood or key card or anything like that. You know, honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if you just shoot out 6 diamonds with a hand like that and take your shot. And maybe you're unlucky and you catch a partner with absolutely nothing, and even then you're probably only down 1, and it might have been worth a shot. There is something to be said for bid what you think you can make. And I'm generally scientific about my bridge, and I still recognize sometimes you just gotta throw your science out the window. Either because the hand's too hard to bid, or because the opponents have interfered too much in your auction. Sometimes you just throw